Number one, will you abolish the E-levy?
What is a 24-hour economy?
Just one question for you. And this question is regarding a payment of $53 million towards a supposed Cathedral project, which...
I don't need to repeat this. As to whether we'll investigate it or not, the Ministry of Finance do not have investigative power.
So, just for the ordinary Ghanaian, what is a 24-hour economy? Just for the ordinary Ghanaian to understand.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
He needs an explanation of 24-hour economy from you.
Mr. Chairman, simple put, a 24-hour economy is an economy where the rest sectors of the economy doesn't sleep. The rest sectors of the economy doesn't sleep. For example, we have a mining sector, don't we? We want to see where the mining sector does not sleep, as against a situation where the mining sector, for example, does 12 hours and go to bed. The benefits of light electricity, they should be able to work 24 hours. And many other sectors. You have the hydrocarbon sector. You have the entire agriculture value chain. It's not just going to farm, but after farm, the produce must go to a warehouse. And you have to, obviously, process it into agribusiness. And so we don't want the value chain to go to sleep. We believe that if implemented properly, we'll be able to increase the workforce. And we've said one job, just like we have now, can end up employing 3. So 24-hour economy is a structure where we'll end up implementing a 3 shift for the economy and going forward, bring out productivity.
Thank you very much. Are you okay with the explanation of 24-hour economy?
Chairman, stay out of this matter. Honorable nominee, are you suggesting, therefore, that the structure of our economy as it stands now has no such input as 24-hour economy already subsisting?
There's some semblance of 24
Please,
hour.
go ahead with your answer.
Mr. Chairman, I think if you talk about the rest sector, no. You see, the rest sector are the core sectors of the economy that drives inclusive growth, proper growth, and create jobs. You have health, where hospitals operate 24 hours. You have the police, some police stations, work 24 hours and all, some restaurants and all. But that's not what we are talking about. That's not what we're talking about. We are talking of the real sector, where jobs are created. For example, we have Takrady Port, my birthplace, where I grew up, secondary Takrady Port. And you have mines, where you used to work, the Awaso area. Going all the way to Yini. With a proper railway line, you can get the Yini mines to produce bauxite within the same 24 hours as what has been produced. You can haul it to Takrady Port and ship them or process it. The whole process is what we are talking about, 24-hour economy. So it's the rail sector that we are talking about. Investment in the rail sector, deliberate government policy targeting the rail sector, where you can use the 24-hour economic policy to drive growth. That's what we are talking about, not chop bars. We are not talking of chop bars. We are not talking of pharmacy shop. That's not what we are talking about, rail sector growth.
So are you therefore saying that you've done some costing, and having done some costing, you have an approach in terms of this model? Because from your answer, you are suggesting that you are going to target certain sectors. And if you are targeting these sectors and you really want to fuel economic growth, it means that you need to inject some funding. So let us know what funding arrangement you have in place to back this policy.
Mr. Chairman, I don't want to jump the gun. I said earlier that the
Capable of answering the question.
I said earlier that the Office of the Special Advisor to the President, responsible for 24-hour economy, is doing some work. I know they're almost done, and because the work started 2 years ago when we also were in opposition. Today he's in office. He will need to tweak it and present same to Parliament. Obviously, what will be presented to Parliament will come from either the Ministry of Finance together with the Ministry of Trade. So let's wait for that. The President has appointed someone responsible for 24-hour economy. Let's wait for the person to provide us a proper blueprint, then we'll talk about it.
Number one, will you abolish the E-levy?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, my position on the E-levy is well known. I do not intend to run from it. I've written articles against the E-levy. I championed opposition against the E-levy. I still stand by them. Mr. Chairman, the E-levy is neither a direct tax, indirect tax, or an excise tax. I don't know how to classify the E-levy as a tax practitioner. Mr. Chairman, it doesn't mean that I do not recognize that the E-levy brings in certain revenue. But the fact remains that the E-levy retards our progress towards a cash-light economy and the fintech. We need to abolish the E-levy. I have said, and I'm on record to have said, that given the opportunity to abolish the E-levy. I want to restate that position, that if approved as part of the first budget, I'll be privileged and I will announce that we will abolish the E-levy as part of our first budget, recognizing my earlier stance and the commitment that His Excellency the President, President Mahama, said that as part of our 120 days agenda, we will abolish the E-levy. We stand by that, and I can assure you the E-levy will go within the 120 days calendar that we've announced. Thank you. Yes, we have obviously announced that we are going to scrap certain taxes.
The NDC party promised Ghanaians to scrap a number of taxes. So how do you intend, if you're given the nod as the Minister of Finance, to bridge the revenue gap?
Honourable nominee, the floor is yours.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. And Mr. Chairman, let me say this is an excellent question. Mr. Chairman, Ghana currently collects approximately 13.8% of GDP in terms of tax revenue, according to the latest data I've cited as part of the transition. It is obvious that we can do better. I've studied the Ghana economy for some time, and I can say without mentioning a word that Ghana has huge potential when it comes to tax revenue mobilization. You don't necessarily have to increase taxes before you rake in revenue. We have the handles. What we need to do is to improve compliance. I will work with the JRA, the tax policy unit of the Ministry of Finance, to ensure that we increase compliance and to raise the revenue as much as we can. In the medium term, it is my vision, when approved, to increase the revenue from 13.8, tax revenue from 13.8% of GDP to about 16 to 18%. That will be able to compare ourselves to our peers. I believe the potentials are out there. It doesn't necessarily mean we should increase taxes. Yes, we have obviously announced that we are going to scrap certain taxes. We'll stick to just that. But it doesn't also mean that we don't care about the revenue. We care about the revenue. And we will have to do more on revenue. But it doesn't necessarily mean we should increase taxes. Some of the taxes out there are not bringing in the revenue that it should.
Honorable Dr. Atto Forson. I have just one question for you. And this question is regarding a payment of $53 million towards a supposed Cathedral project, which was a commitment of the former president to his God. As we speak, the $53 million has been paid. The result is a big hole not far from here. We also know that the payment was made through the Ministry of Finance. My question to you is, having knowledge that the $53 million could have paid for 3 completed Agenda 111 district hospitals, could have paid for 1,220 6-unit classroom blocks, could have paid for 1,050 chip compounds, could have paid at least 299,000 teachers, and actually could have bought 9,000 cutlasses for farmers. Will you promise that when you are approved by this House and then subsequently by the House, you would set up an investigation as to whether this payment was legitimate, and if possible, retrieve this money so that we can buy the 9,000 cutlasses for the farmers, actually build 1,050 chip compounds and 1,200 6-unit classroom blocks. Hopefully, Adaklu will get some of the 6-unit classroom blocks because we still have schools under 3. Will you make a commitment to make sure that this $53 million, which many Ghanaians believe was a waste, would become something that can benefit the ordinary people of this country?
Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. Mr. Chairman, this takes me back to what I started earlier. The quality of expenditure matter. You see, and I've said earlier on that there was the need for us to cut the waste. This is one of the wastes that I refer to. And learning from past mistakes, we don't need to repeat this. As to whether we'll investigate it or not, the Ministry of Finance do not have investigative power. It is the government, and based on the government agenda to investigate. I attend the Office of the Attorney General and the newly established ORA. So, Mr. Chairman, let me put it this way. There are bitter lessons we have to learn from some of these expenditures and what it has done to all of us as a country and what we have gone through together, because in the end, we ended up borrowing, and we borrowed into an unsustainable pit to the extent that we had to give domestic bondholders haircuts, including Euro bondholders. So we have to learn from it. And I've said that we need to identify some of these kind of expenditures. You are now aware of this one, but maybe there are a lot more that we are not aware of. Can we identify some of them? Can we pledge together, the political class, the governing class, not to continue some of these things and allow the private sector to deal with some of these things concerned? So I'll leave that here and urge you that I will work with yourselves to identify some of these wasteful expenditures and cut them appropriately. Let's cut the waste together.
Thank you very much.